Could the Twin City concept become a small city solution to tackling the challenges of an ever-expanding Joburg? We ask the experts.
Maybe before I talk about the hackathon in itself, I think it's very important for people to understand what a digital twin is and how now the hackathon came about. I've realized that there is quite a lot of misconceptions and actually lack of knowledge around what a digital twin is. So essentially a digital twin, I call it a concept. I don't want to call it a technology because there are a lot of technologies embedded in that concept that really takes a physical object and replicates it into its virtual form. So I'll give you a very simple example. Let's assume the road here in this close to where you guys are situated has a problem. It could be potholes, it could be that there is traffic congestion, and you're trying to figure out a solution of how to solve that problem. Let me take traffic congestion as an example. And then we plan out and we say, okay, on this road, we're going to block it out because there's so much traffic and we're going to open another road for the traffic to go through. And after we do all that, we close the road, we realize the problem was actually so minor that it didn't require us to do a blockage. So if you have a digital twin, which is a virtual aspect of that physical object, you can play around with it. You can process, you can visualize, you can test on that virtual platform before you actually implement the actual physical object. So it's cost effective. So we are trying to do that on a very large scale, on a city scale. So that's what a digital twin is. And how the hackathon came about was through a very enthusiastic biennial event that happened last year through the Embassy of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. And the idea really was to co-create. We actually used the hashtag co-create Hack My City. And because the Netherlands have really made strides in implementing digital twins in the city of Rotterdam, we were coming in as the learners of what they had already implemented. And what a way to actually co-create through a hackathon by actually identifying certain problem statements or challenges within the city of Johannesburg and trying to solve them. So that was what the hackathon's intent was, to really try and see if the challenges that we have within the city can be addressed. And I think we very well affirmed that they could be.
Now, having said that, what was the criteria involved for entry? And to whom was it targeted? So
the criteria to entry was actually PhD students or master's students. Those are who we were targeting. And these needed to be from the Netherlands or from and South Africa. So like I mentioned earlier, the co-create was a very huge thing for us, and we needed to maintain that. We needed to bring that to life. And how that would happen was to actually bring together different countries, two countries together, one that has implemented, one that is learning to implement, and then brought them together as the participants. So we had about 10 students from South African universities. So we had UJ, we had University of Pretoria, we had Wits University as well. And then we had two universities, University of Twente and Eindhoven from the Netherlands.
But how big is the appetite for virtual solutions when it comes to smart city implementation?
I mean, it's huge. We've had quite great support from the city itself, the city of Johannesburg, through their Smart Innovation Department. I think also just from running the hackathon, we realized through stakeholder engagements how these conversations were already happening around the digital twin, but we just hadn't been in the same space to actually, further that conversation and see how we can start the implementation. And then from higher learning institutions, I mean, University of Pretoria came through for us. There is a department that is headed by one Dr. Kaledi, who has already started establishing or at least planning how a digital twin would look like in Hatfield. So that was very interesting to see that the appetite is there. There are a lot of people, city fathers, city planners, higher institutions of learning, government itself, private institutions that are willing to support this initiative and obviously digital transformation.
How is this likely going to translate into assisting engineers who are focused on smart city solutions moving forward?
So it's not only going to assist engineers, because what we realized is all the entities that I mentioned just now, your city fathers and the planners and all the institutions that were involved are actually interested in having these hackathons come about. But interestingly enough, the engineers were also part of this hackathon. We had civil engineers, mechanical engineers, computer scientists who were part of the participants who had to bring about the solution. So it is definitely going to help based on the problem statements that we presented. So those problem statements are actually the challenges. And I always chuckle that problems are the list of our issue in findings. They're the easiest to find. So it wasn't difficult finding challenges within the city of Johannesburg. Problems are there, and we had to just look at what these so-called engineers and all the entities involved would actually want to solve as a challenge going forward.
As an innovation hub, where does the benefit lie for you? And are we likely to see more of these hackathons?
I think you took the words right out of my mouth. Innovation hub. We are a digital innovation hub, and there lies for us the benefit of being pioneers of such great technologies. Like I've noted before, that the conversations were there, but there hasn't been anyone who has actually taken it up to hackathon level, and not only that, above and beyond that, to scale the problem statements that we have. So as Tshimologong, we are always eager to innovate. We're always eager to partner with people who understand what innovation is. And one thing that came out of this hackathon that is very great to see was the fact that after the winners were announced, some of the institutions, including the city of Johannesburg, actually wanted to now implement or start implementing the solutions that were brought out of that hackathon. And that's exactly what our intention was, to see this hackathon scaling beyond just being a hackathon.